call it to order. Can we go back and approve, the 2025, meeting in March?
Of course, I can get it out now.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, John, you wanna? You're up, I'm sorry.
Yeah, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable, yeah.
Great. Well, hi, everyone. I'm John Rinkowitz from Engelmetzger Bars, so presenting the financial statement audit, the letter of communication, the management letter, and the single audit. So we've got a number of reports this year, all currently in draft form, just to kind of review things with this committee. We are waiting for some information in the financial statements for bonds, your conduit debt bond information. We have to wait for those folks to report back to you and give us the information before we can put it into the footnote. The good news is it really isn't going to change any of the numbers in the statements themselves. So as we go through those, these really are your numbers and that kind of thing. Rather than walk you through each report, I've passed out this executive summary. It really kind of just gets us right to the statements themselves and talking about the specific information. I can answer questions on any other reports you folks have seen, the drafts that were issued. But this will be what I walk through. We'll talk about the audit opinions, so no modifications needed, so unqualified reports on the statements themselves, the internal controls that are required for us to issue an opinion on, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies identified in that report, so that's a clean report. The audit on or the opinion on your investments and your adherence to that is a clean opinion as well. And let's jump into the statements then as well. So if we go to the first page of the executive summary here, this is your balance sheet, and we have comparative numbers here so we can see where things were last year compared to where they are this year. And up at the top, looking at the changes in asset numbers here, you'll notice cash and cash equivalents and the investments are up quite a bit this year. So you've had a pretty good year. Bond fees were up, and we'll get to that in a minute. Also, you're collecting on the microloan program, so you're collecting that cash, but the loans you're issuing are still being funded through the grant funds from the county. So you're collecting money on money that was previously provided through the county. So those cash balances continue to climb up. Really, that's really what's driving those increases there. The loans receivable, we've got just a bullet down below here. So you did issue 40 new microloans, about $2.1 million of loans, so that's fantastic, getting those funds out. Those are provided from the county as part of their ARPA money, so getting that out is really important, and getting those done before the grant, which runs out this year in 2026. So you've done a great job of getting those loans issued. And again, you've been collecting on some of those balances as well. And then down in the net position section, we talk about your restricted balance. You have a state loan program, this gain loan, and they require to basically hold on to those funds because the termination of loan, they might take the money back. It's an interesting program, but you hold that money restricted just until the conclusion of that program is basically what happens there. And then we can see the overall increase in that position. It is about $3.5 million. If we go to the next page, we can see what that is. Before I move on though, any questions on the balance sheet? Or?
The gain funds were from, is it the state's ag and markets, okay. And that program dates back many years, right?
Yeah, and they're still restricted, like it's like a very specific people that we can loan it out to, and there's, how much is in there?
160.
160, so it's
Oh,
not
okay.
that much money
Okay.
that then loan out to
Got
somebody,
it.
so yeah.
That's what's back in it?
That's back? 'Cause I know we gave Bright.
I think,
Right.
yeah, that was Brightly Farms.
I
think
thought,
it's
I thought our dollar amount was 160, we loaned all that to them, so.
It just says restricted net position of 169.
So the dollars, whether loaned out or
Received.
received,
Oh,
are
okay.
still restricted in total.
Got it.
Right, but right.
But it's
so
all
what's-
been lent out.
What's back,
Yeah.
what do we have back and like we could potentially lend out again?
I don't have
I
that.
can tell you.
That's okay.
It's not, yeah, not time sensitive.
Right, so the second page here is your income statement, so we can see the IDC had a pretty good year as far as bond fees, so there were 4 projects basically that closed. The biggest one, Rochester Regional Health, which impacted actually a number of counties and public authorities. So you got about $750,000 from that fee alone. And then you completed a couple other projects for the Jewish Home in U of R in St. John's.
So, around 2 million, right, for
Yep.
2025, yeah?
Mhm. And then the microloan, the federal program, again, you're getting money for issuing those loans, as well as the administrative costs of running the program. And moving forward to spending, all of those funds, the total amount awarded was about 5.8 million. You've got about 600,000, I think, left in that program. Okay, and we did prepare a single audit because your dollar amount is over $1 million. We did do a specific test required by the feds and issue a separate report, the single audit. That's a clean report, just no findings or material weaknesses or question costs in that. And not expecting to have to do that next year because you don't have more than $1 million left in the grant. Program expense, so that's where your reward programs, costs of providing those are, and as well as the cost of the microloan programs, because they're included in those grant spending. Down a little bit, a piece of this is some of the reward programs, you discontinued some projects where the companies weren't necessarily completing what they needed to do. So you took steps to discontinue those rather than extending those. So we saw some write-offs, basically, some of those obligations. This year, about 100,000. You did reduce staff in the loan program for one underwriter, and then your bad debt estimate. So which you're doing a little bit better or more robust. You've got a little bit more history with your bad debt. Now that the microloan program's run for a few years, and so the change in that estimate is not as severe as it was in the previous year. So that's really where those reductions were. But if we look at the operating income overall, it's about double what it was last year. So it was a very good year, but there are these factors into that. All right. So overall, your net position increased about $3.5 million to $12 million. And just to point out, as we had in the previous on your balance sheet, about $5 million of that is tied up in your loan program. So,
Right.
so that's where that money is. But ended up in good financial condition and have funds available to continue on. So that's what I have on the statements.
Got a good problem here, money.
Yeah. And I did mention the letters of communication, which is really just a standard communication. Basically says the audit went well, there wasn't any disagreements or large adjustments needed. And then the management letter, so we look at your internal controls. again, I mentioned no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, and we actually had no, current year recommendations for improvements on your internal controls. You're doing a very good job.
Any questions?
Pretty positive.
Does anybody have any questions for John?
No, I mean, when they're clean, there's really nothing to ask about.
Thank you.
Excellent, well, thank you for your time. And, again, we expect the bond information to come in the next few weeks, and then we'll be able to finalize the reports. Okay?
Awesome, thank
Great.
you, John.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate your work.
Have a good
And
afternoon.
your team's work.
Oh,
too.
sweet stuff. Yes, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, get out there while it's not raining.
Thanks, John. You got it.
Well, that should be good news for the board.
It's just based on my repairs report cycle.
Yeah,
Yep,
just to see
12
it.
million.
Maybe the best.
Yeah, net position of 3 million total. Mhm. Right. We can do more.
So, do we need a motion to accept this here? Yeah,
Recommend,
recommend this, to the board, we need a motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, yeah.
Should also be a motion, to recommend to the full board the single audit.
A motion to recommend the single audit as well. It's like-
Yes, we need a motion for that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And, motion to recommend the full board readopt the code of ethics, internal control policies, internal control procedures, and whistleblower policies with no changes.
Motion.
You all are familiar with all of this, right?
Yes, sir.
So there was a discussion, not to make any of these committee meetings longer than they have to be. There was a discussion of combining the internal control policy, SBA, with the internal control policy that we use, for the, ABO purposes. I don't know if there was a decision that was made, or if staff had a recommendation per se. From our perspective on the legal side, it's fine, either way, you can keep them separate or you can combine them. So whatever's easiest for administration is fine.
since I'm the one that brought it up to you, I'm fine with combining them, and I looked, the one that
Yeah,
we have for the
sounds
ABO is literally word for word, the first page of the one for the, we have for the SBA, it just has 5 extra pages of SBA required stuff that's on there.
Okay.
So what is it, let me understand, combining them is what?
So we'll just have one internal controls procedure, which currently will be the SBA version.
Right.
Because that's the one that is more expansive. So we'll have that rather than having 2 separate internal control policies, depending on which hat you're wearing. You know, if you're doing a bond deal, you're wearing the shorter version. If you're wearing the SBA version, you have the longer one. We'll just have the longer version to be utilized.
Okay.
And it's a simplification of.
Correct.
One less thing for you to approve on an annual basis.
So that's in this motion then, right?
It's not.
It is not, but it's motion to recommend the full board readopt the code of ethics, the internal controls policy, SBA, and the whistleblower policy with no changes. And we will be dropping the standalone, second internal controls procedures.
Great.
So we need a motion here to approve that?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll just add that with the changes as discussed, is what I'll add.
Yeah.
I'll take the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then we need a motion to recommend to the full board to readopt the audit committee charter with no changes.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We're
We're good?
swapping
Yeah.
costs.
That's it.
That's it, you did everything you're supposed to do.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's audit committee. Next up is
Oh,
Motion.
second?